Welcome to the Grit and Grace podcast, where real conversations meet real growth. This is the place where we lean into life's challenges with grit and rise above them with grace. Whether you're here for encouragement, practical tools, or a reminder that you're not walking this journey alone, you're in the right place. So let's dive in. I'm Bethany Starks, and this is Christy Denton. And today we are going to talk about how your mind shapes health, aging, and everyday life. So we're really doing a deep dive into mindset.
So excited.
Which is really one of Christy's wheelhouses.
Yes.
This is one of her things. So
I believe in it so much, and I don't think people put enough power into the mindset, and they want to put more power into maybe nutrition or exercise, which does have power.
Right.
But if your mind's not right, we're not going to do those things.
That's true. You know, an example from today, this morning, we ran. And it was our last run before a marathon, half marathon in a week. And my first words to Christy when I got done with my 12 miles, I said, that was a complete battle of the mind, that run. Because I didn't feel great physically while I was running, but I had to tell myself all the things. And so we can apply that to all areas of life, right?
Exactly.
And so today we are going to talk about some tools and some things in our day-to-day life that require mindset, shape mindset, and then impact everything: relationships, health, fitness, longevity.
Yeah. Everything. And the thing is, you're going to hear a lot of things. We repeat ourselves a lot because I do believe that people try to make things too difficult, and it's simple. Things are very simple, and when you keep things simple, it just makes things easier, and not as many decision making, and I don't know, people make things too difficult.
Yeah, we could translate that to a lot of areas.
Okay, so what we're going to start with is the power of micro wins. And so that is meaning that you're getting small wins maybe through your day, through your week, through your month. And when you stack small actions before your day starts, it sets your days up for success. So before your day starts. So that means what you're doing the night before sets your next day up for success. And that is a small win. And when you do these, it's the controllables. It's the things that you are in control of that creates momentum. It creates clarity, and it creates confidence. And constantly, I'm told that people feel out of control and that their life is chaos. And so like when I'm with a client, I am constantly trying to find where they have those moments in their day where they have the control and they can make those decisions for themselves. Because yes, some things are out of your control. Your schedule, maybe your work or children's
Obligations,
after school, after activities and things like that. So you've got to just see where you can find those micro wins throughout your day. And it does help reduce stress by anchoring your day in discipline and not chaos.
Right. So some good examples of that, even just personally, we both work out in the morning, which we'll delve a little bit more into. But those anchors and those micro wins that we have to stack are the preparation for the night before, the getting in bed early the night before, meal prepping because we don't want to eat out. You know, so these are just little micro wins. But the thing is, one reason that we call them wins is because when you choose to do the activity that creates the end result of the micro win, it builds confidence that, okay, I did this little thing and it seems insurmountable. A lot of your clients, my patients, say I've got this huge journey, but little bitty wins stack up.
Yes.
And so that's so powerful. So we're also going to talk about mindset related to moms and middle-aged women, which that is really the heart of what we do a lot of in our businesses and our practice. And we recognize, because we've been there, we're in 2 different decades of life, and so a little bit different, but we totally get the juggling multiple things. Nobody gets it more than I do. You know, I have 4 kids, I own a business, I prioritize exercise, prioritize faith,
run marathons,
do all those things. So I don't wear that as a badge of honor in saying like nobody's busier than me. But the bottom line is like
You're busy.
We know what it's like
Yes.
to juggle all those things.
Yes.
And your personal health requires realistic routines. And if anything, my family is too regimented. Like it's a little hard to pull back and relax sometimes because we are so regimented. But, and I think regimented parents create regimented kids, you know. And so we know too that you can have some external factors physically, like if you're perimenopausal or menopausal, that can make stress more intensified, fatigue, mood swings. But mindset is really the most powerful tool to combat those things. So the other thing, and you know, it's consistency with, or it's consistent with the name of our podcast, Grit and Grace, that we want to choose progress over perfection. So we're not always going to get it right, you know, but we want to give you the tools, especially those women in those hard seasons, to thrive.
Yes.
To thrive during those seasons.
Yes. I mean, I agree 100%. And that is where you have to control the controllable. You have to not feel helpless, because when you feel helpless, it actually does age you faster than just going through a hardship. And that woe pitiful me, it's not going to get you anywhere. And believing that nothing that you do matters, it creates chronic stress. It raises your cortisol, it accelerates inflammation, and ultimately speeds up the aging process in both body and mind. So we need to make sure that and change that mindset of you do have some control over some parts of your life, and you need to take that control. See where you do have that control and take that control, but you have to focus on routines. And when I say routines, I'm talking about sleep, fitness, nutrition. Make that a routine in your life so that you don't have to decide. It just becomes a habit. And so for example, I was talking to a client the other day, and she said she likes variety in her diet and her nutrition and things like that. She can't just eat salads for her life. I would never ask somebody to do that. But in reality, to be most successful is you want to have like three breakfasts and 3 lunches, because those are usually on the go or at home, or maybe even rushed if you're not getting up early. And you don't want to think about it, but you want those things that gives you the success in your goals that you want to do. And it also makes your body feel good, and you're not getting bloated, and you're not having to go get fast food.
Right.
So having those controllable of, I know what I can eat for breakfast, that's good, and it does the job. I know what I can eat for lunch, it does the job. And that's controlling the controllable. And so, and another thing that when I think about controlling the controllable is your attitude. How are you presenting yourself to people? And so one of the things that I listened to on a podcast, this Navy SEAL who's went through battles and PTSD, and he just had a hard 17 years of his military career. And he made the statement that he sits in the car before he goes in the house, and he says, when I walk through that threshold, how am I going to present myself to my family? And I know so many people, they are stressed, and they had a stressful day, and they bring it home to their family, and they don't get that mom, that father, that husband, that wife that they deserve, that your family deserves. And so controlling the controllable is also about your attitude.
That's so true. I think about this in relation to being a mom and being a leader, that you've probably heard the term that mom sets the tone for the house. Okay, so we've all been here where maybe you are just not in a good place. You are not in a very good mood, and everybody in your household will adopt that same mood. I see that at work. I'm the leader at this office, and if I come in and bring home with me or whatever stress with me, that I set the tone for the whole office. And so that's attitude, and that starts with mindset. And so really, if we can adopt that mentality that when we walk through whatever threshold it is, that, okay, who do I want to be when I walk through this threshold? And that can equate to a lot of pressure. And we're not perfect, but it really does change our perspective, which is really about perspective. So we know, like we said, that when you're a mom and when you have a lot of responsibilities, that can bring unique stressors in different periods of time. And like we said, you can focus on like consistent meal timing, taking short breaks, hydration, intentional downtime, in order to control those controllables.
So one thing that you want to think about is, what do you need to be doing and what do you not need to be doing? And so to do is that you want to think about doing purposeful action and stacking those wins like we talked about, and to create momentum so that when you start having a successful morning, because you're not rushed, because you got up 30 minutes earlier than you used to get up, or you got your stuff ready the night before, it does create momentum and you can see the results of that. So that's something to do. And what not to do, you want to avoid like scrolling first thing in the morning. Like so many people, they use their phone as their alarm next to their bed, and they pick up that phone and they're immediately like on social media, or they're checking their emails. And that's going to control what their mind is going to be seeing. And so try not to do things like that, because it can be a negative input and that could set your day off in the wrong way. So protect your bandwidth. Protect your bandwidth so that you are clear in your mental capacity and your long-term health. So, every no does create space for the right yes.
Yep. And, when you say yes to something, you have to say no to something else.
Yes.
So, we say yes to exercise in the morning.
Yes.
And that means that we may say no to the concert the night before. Or we say no to staying up late for something that's not even important, because the non-negotiable in our day is that we're going to start the day with X, Y, and Z.
Yes.
Which for us is, time with the Lord, drinking coffee, exercising, and that starts our day with those anchors.
Yes,
Those
they
anchors
are
for the
anchors.
day that are part of our life, that are important. I see this too over the last 20 years in taking care of patients, when we've had different life events, like we just had, or political events, elections, or like we've recently had all the Charlie Kirk stuff. And I see patients that they can get so fixated on that, watching it and scrolling, that they come to see me and they are mentally in a dark place. And so you have to be able to say no and compartmentalize that, which we're going to talk about, to protect your own health mentally and physically. So midlife women, we're juggling careers, caregiving, personal health, and it can feel overwhelming. And so some mindset tools that we can use, one that I always use when maybe somebody's struggling with depression or anxiety, is to reframe a situation. So it's all about perspective, and it's okay to step back and go, okay, how can I look at this differently? And then give yourself permission to rest. It's kind of about the bandwidth. It's okay to say no. It's okay to rest. It's okay to take a power nap and set healthy boundaries, and then celebrate the small wins. And so energy management matters more than time management in this stage of life. And so just choose what you say yes to, choose what you say no to.
Yes. And so we said the word routine, and that truly is an armor in your day. And you should have some routines in your day, a morning routine, an evening routine. Just like circadian rhythm, you rise with the sun, you go to bed with the sun. Your day should also look similar every day. And morning rituals, they protect against chaos. I can't explain that enough. But if you are that person that is running out the door, yelling at the kids, you can't find your keys, you lost your glasses, and you're having to go to the donut store because you don't have breakfast for anybody, that is a sign that you need a morning routine. It's creating chaos. It's creating chaos for your life. It's creating chaos for your children possibly, or your family. And it's not the way to start your day. So that is why it has to be an armor of my day, and I know Bethany's day, is that morning routine is almost like, okay, I'm in control. I've got my things that are important to me. So then it prepares me to be available to serve others when I'm needed after my morning routine.
Right.
And so that's exactly what I have to do. I don't want to fit it into my day, because then I may be rushed through my fitness, or maybe rushed to spend time with the Lord and everything. And I don't want to feel that way. It's not worth that to me. And so when you are consistent, it creates freedom. And when you know what to expect, stress decreases. So consistency creates freedom. What does that mean? That means, because I do the same thing every morning, I don't have to think about it. It is a routine. I don't have to decide, oh, do I want coffee today or not? Nope, I want coffee. Am I going to spend time with the Lord? No, I'm going to spend time with the Lord. And so less decision as is being done, and I'm being more proactive to protect my day instead of being reactive.
Right. And Christy and I, we've traveled together for various fitness things. The other thing we like about this is your routine can travel with you.
Yes.
So if we travel, we do the very same thing when we travel.
Yes.
And therefore, you still feel good. You're still in control. You still have done your normal fitness. So your routine really should be such that you can do it wherever you are.
Yes.
And so that's just consistency.
Yes.
And so thriving in chaos. So we know like there are different periods of life that are chaotic. I have 4 kids. The youngest is 5 and the oldest is 18. We've got a lot going on, but you can still thrive in chaos. And so that can be balanced. And we know that like perimenopausal, menopausal female, the pressures can drain your energy, but the simple strategies can protect your strength. And so let go of guilt. You know, comparison is the thief of joy. You're looking at the mom, you think they have it all together. No, maybe they just have a morning routine and they get up earlier than you, you know. So, because it's just like Christy said, think about it. I get up super early, like very early, like 2:20 in the morning. But you know what? Nobody else is vying for my attention at that time. And so I'm in complete control of my household and what happens at that time versus the person that gets up late, hits snooze 10 times, and then they're going to try to fit exercise in at the end of the day.
Yes.
Guess what? It's not going to happen.
It's not going to work.
But if you program that into your day, it doesn't even impact your family.
Not at
because yes, you sacrificed a little bit of sleep, but maybe you didn't because you went to bed earlier. And then you're anchored for the day. So that's done, check, done. And you don't have to feel guilty. You don't have to feel guilty for taking time away from your family. You don't have to feel guilty because you were in a bad mood because you didn't have enough time to get your kids out the door. So these are realistic wins, and that helps keep this momentum in health and wellness alive.
And one thing, like she said, not to feel guilty. And a good way of thinking about that is you have to be selfless to be selfish. So just like you said, your morning routine takes from nobody. You're not giving up time with your children. You're not giving up time with your husband. And you are taking care of yourself when you are able to be selfish. So then you can come to work and you can serve other people and you can be selfless. So many people, they feel guilt for being selfish and taking that time for exercise or taking that time to prepare meals or plan their meals for the week and things like that. And I'm like, why? I don't understand that. If your day is in order and you've got those routines down, you're going to find those times where you can be selfish and not take from anybody else that is needing you at that moment. And so again, morning routines are a non-negotiable because it sets your body and mind for the day. So protecting your time and energy is not neglecting others. It's preparing to show up better for them.
Right.
Like if I get up late, if something happens, it doesn't happen. I don't know how people
because you protect your
miss
routine.
their
That's
alarms.
right.
Like they'll say my alarm didn't go off. I'm like, how does that happen?
Yeah.
I don't know, but I know it does happen, but I rarely miss it. But if I do, my whole day is set off wrong. And I just can't, I feel like it's off. It is just an off day. And then I'm not going to be able to serve people very well.
That's right. You have to put your oxygen on first. And I think that all the time because I pour into people all day. And so I'm not going to feel guilty. And it's good for your kids to see you prioritize your health and to be selfish so that you can be selfless. Your kids are going to look back and they're going to be like, my mom prioritized her health. You know, she got up very early, but she did it every day. And so it's okay to be selfish. You know, Christy says this all the time, that moms wear like this selflessness as a badge of honor, whether it's what you fuel your body with, whether you exercise, and that is not a badge of honor. Like I want my kids to be able to be like, our mom was healthy. And she prioritized that so that she could be everything for us. And you can protect, there are little areas that you can carve out. When Christy meets with a client, she does an audit of their day. And this is convicting because we all should audit our day, whether it's just the little social media scrolling. There are things, if we dig in and we go, no, we're going to protect time, then there's always little spots that you can get something done. So, protect that 10 or 15 minutes in the morning to get your mind right, to have quiet time, to journal, to pray. That sets the tone for the whole day. Short workouts, whether it's the 20-minute walk after supper to connect with your spouse, or say no to non-essential commitments. I've gotten better at that as a business owner. I just don't have the bandwidth to do that. And another thing that I'll do is I'll think, okay, what kind of long-term impact does this have? Eternal impact? Does this impact my family? Does this impact my health? And you can say yes to a lot of good things.
Yes.
But they still will fill your time and stress you out. And so that's something that I have learned as a business owner. Like, it's okay, you can fill your schedule and say yes and be on every committee and in every nonprofit, and you will be so stressed out and you will be worthless to everybody.
But just like you said, but it can help fulfill you spiritually, mentally, or physically, but you don't know what to say yes to unless you have goals.
Yes, which is so important. And so you should set monthly goals, you should set quarterly goals, and then have something in your life that helps hold you accountable.
Yeah. And then once you have those goals set up a routine to have those goals, to take action on those goals.
Yeah.
And so, again, we're back to mindset.
Yeah.
So, but again, mindset, stress, and aging. If stress is unchecked, so I've already said it, it raises your cortisol, and inflammation accelerates aging. So that's what we're trying to prevent when you have a strong mindset, that we are trying to help you just lower that cortisol and lower your stress levels. And so research shows that optimism lengthens health span and the quality of life. So when you are optimistic about your day and things are going as planned, and you have your evening routine and your morning routine and your nutrition's on track and you're exercising and fitness, you're just more optimistic. And so that when you are interacting with other people and you're doing the things that you have said yes to, that you're available and you're present and you're not stressed and rushed and things like that. So again, take an inventory of your life and see if some of the things that we're saying, is it on the negative side or is it on the positive side? Are you optimistic about how your day is running, or is your day running you? So again, you want to practice some journaling and mindfulness and spiritual grounding so that you are knowing what your path is and that you're taking action steps to take it.
And then I mentioned compartmentalizing earlier. And so a perfect example of this is maybe you've had a stressor in your family or at work, and you bring that stressor to work. Then that impacts your day negatively. And so we all need to be able to compartmentalize. It kind of goes back to the threshold comment that you made, that we have to be able to switch gears from being the wife, the leader, the business owner, and all of those things require different energy and focus and different emotional presence. And Christy said it well when we were preparing for this. She's like, my husband needs me to be the wife, not the trainer. My kids need me to be their mom, not the healthcare provider that's preaching to them about what to do. And so this requires deliberate routines and mental transitions, because those blended roles, although inevitably they're blended in some ways, but they help us to be fully present and show up. And clear routines help us be our best version of ourselves in each of those roles.
So I mean, a lot of women do wear many hats, and you're caregivers, you're a mom, you're an employee, and so we understand that there are different hats that you do wear. But when you do compartmentalize, you are that person in that moment that those people need you for. So for example, I'm a trainer at 5 a.m. and I may be in a bad mood because something happened. I may have got an argument with my son or my daughter or my husband or something like that, and it's not resolved yet because everyone's still asleep and I'm up. But I'm not going to bring that to the camp. They're not going to know that I'm having a bad day. So because I want to be that trainer for them. And so the biggest thing that you can do is be fully present in the role that you're in. And Bethany, she shared one of her goals with me. I hope you don't mind me sharing this, but it really made me think about it. Is you're a very busy woman, and so one of her goals this month is just spending more time with her children and just being present with them, and just like having maybe a 10-minute conversation with them. And that's one thing that I do. Is I have a 19-year-old, that my last child at the house, and when he comes to sit next to me at the computer, or I'm doing something and I'm working, I think, Christy, stop what you're doing and be present with your son, because that moment is going to be gone, and they're going to grow up. And we all say, it does happen fast. And so I am just trying to work on that constantly. Is when someone comes up to me and wants my attention, can I give them 5 or 10 minutes and just be present with them? Not on my phone, not looking down, but be present with them.
Yeah, that's so good, because in today's society, we are not good at being present because there's so many distractions.
Yes.
So mindset contributes to our identity. And so our identity is shaped by our habits more than our motivation. And so if somebody asks you, who do I need to become to age well and live strong? You know, that's so good. And that's what we focus on in both of our businesses, is encouraging people to have not only just lifespan, but health span, and to be healthy. And so, you know, that's a good self-evaluation. I'm all about self-reflecting, to go, okay, who am I? What shapes who you are? And, you know, if you can name 3 or 5 things, who are you? You know, and that can shift. So it can shift across the decades, different life seasons, but it all has to do with goals. It has to do with goals, routines, mindset.
Yeah. I mean, and your identity is, who do you want people to see you as? And so if I identify myself as a healthy person, what does a healthy person do? What decisions do they make? What do they put in their mouth? What do they do with their body? And so until you establish who you want your identity to be, then you can't really set that mindset in and take action and create that routine. So, I mean, it really does start into, what is your identity and who do you want to be seen as?
And so, like I said, identity shifts. So think about it. When you're a college student, your identity is maybe in what you are going to school for, or career, and then you become a mom and that identity shifts, and then you know, grow in your career and it changes. And so we should always take inventory, redefine that identity, and look at, you know, I want to be that person that prioritizes health and is able to set boundaries, make sustainable choices. And so you do this a lot in Breaking Barriers. Is, you know, you may shift from, I'm too busy for self-care, to, my health makes me a better person for the people that I love. And so we should anchor our values. So it's like our personal mission statement. Grace Wellness, I have a mission statement, and that's why we do what we do every day and how we do it. And so we should anchor our values. What are those? Faith, strength, resilience. And that helps us embrace the season, and it's an opportunity for renewal. And so we should always be growing, you know, every day.
100%. I agree with that one, 100%. Do not remain stagnant. And you know, you got to be measuring what you're doing. You got to have goals.
And you know, have people in your life that will not let you be stagnant, that will hold you accountable. And I thought of that when you were talking about negativity. You know, negative people attract negative people, and positive attracts positive. And so you want to surround yourself with people that have goals that are bigger than yours, really. So
yeah, that's good. I mean, just like we talked about, the input of what are you listening to? What are you reading? Who do you surround yourself with? That's good. And it is like, the older you get, because like you said, we are in a different decade of life, and a decade of, and you know, it changes, and your circle just gets smaller.
Yeah, I teach, we've talked to our girls about that, and it's like the scripture, guard your heart because it's the wellspring of life. It's true, like guard what you put into your mind and what you read and who you associate with, because input, output, no matter what.
100%.
So
But just be careful of what the thoughts that are going through your mind. So if you've identified yourself and you want to be a strong person, or someone that is seen as a healthy person, or someone that takes their fitness seriously, don't let negative thoughts come and intrude that, because they will. They will come and say, you're not worthy, you're not good enough, you're going to fail. And it's false. It's not true. So accelerates when you let those just take control. It does accelerate your stress, and it's going to possibly make you give up on yourself, give up on your goals, and give up on your future of what it is that you want to achieve. So make sure that you reframe your thoughts of, I'm learning, I'm getting those small wins, I am making progress, I am getting better, I am waking up 5 minutes early, I am going to do better. So it is all about what you're telling yourself in your mind.
Yeah, I'll give this example. We've shared some of our running podcasts about some trips and races. And so I think about that with that last slide, that back in June we did Grandma's Marathon, and my goal for Grandma's was to qualify for Boston, and I didn't at that race. And so somebody that we respect, that's a podcaster and an athlete that we listen to, he says you should set goals such that you don't always get to the finish line. You don't always meet that goal. And so it's okay. It's okay to shift and to pivot and regroup, whatever that goal is, because we're not always going to be perfect, to give grace to ourselves in that way. So mindset's not about radical change. But it's about the steady, repeated choices. It's the day-to-day habits. It's the getting up every day at the same time to do the same thing. And those small wins, those micro wins, create radical change in the end. So same thing with thoughts. One thought shift, one action shift, one long-term habit, it changes the trajectory. And in the same way, like something negative, a negative choice, a negative relationship can change the trajectory of your entire life.
Yes.
And so that's pretty deep, and it's pretty heavy.
It is heavy.
But our goal is to have you look at day-to-day small things that they do add up. So, people say all the time, they don't have time to exercise. Do you have 10 minutes?
Yep.
Don't have time to eat healthy. Okay, let's meal prep. Let's start small. Let's start with one meal that we're not eating out a week.
Yeah. And again, there's the name of our podcast, Grit and Grace. Grit is discipline, perseverance, and taking ownership of your mind, of the mindset and the decisions that you're making, the routines that you're creating, and the identity that you have chosen to be who you want to be. And grace, we've got to have grace. We've got to have compassion. We've got to give ourselves rest, and we've got to accept. And so we keep on saying it. The goal is not perfection. It's never my goal. It's not Bethany's goal. We just want to keep going in that direction. And if we just make a wrong turn, that's fine. Just get back on track. And that's going to happen to all of us. It's the thing is identifying those veers, or that just change of direction, before it gets to that point where you are turning around and a year down the road, 6 months down the road, 5 years down the road, and saying, how did I get here? Because it happens fast.
Yeah. This is a good analogy that I have used with patients. So if you're driving down the road and one wheel gets off the road and you start to lose control, are you just going to veer completely off the road? No, you're going to course correct. You're going to try to course correct, and that's what you're doing in life. So you're not just going to wheel through a pasture knowingly. Like, you are going to try to get back on track, and that's what we have to do is give grace to ourselves, especially as moms. Because it's easy to be like, I have completely messed up, and you haven't. And we're not speaking from a place of perfection at all, but that hopefully, like, you'll see, hey, here's some just little things that you can do more to be convicted to go, hey, we can change this, and it's not that hard. It's just small steps in the right direction.
I mean, and that's it. And just like she said, like, if that wheel does come off of the road, the goal is, the more that you're creating those routines and you've got those anchors in your day, and that you can see how less stressful you can be when you have a morning routine, and how much better you're getting towards your goals. When you start to veer, you're going to notice it sooner. And so it is taking that audit of your life. If something is, and maybe you feel more stressed, or something's not going right, or maybe you're seeing some weight gain, or you're not working out as often. Take an audit of your life, get back at your mindset, get back in that routine, and know what works. And that's the biggest thing. Until you change your mindset and you create and establish routines, you're not going to know if it's going to work and get you in the direction. But I promise you it will.
Yeah, so good. So mindset's the bridge between your present challenges, which we all have them, and then your future strength. So it truly is like mindset can be your superpower, right?
Yes.
And so our goal, both of our goals, is to work together with you to help you age with resilience, clarity, and purpose.
Amen.
Yeah. So be encouraged, and we can't wait to see you again soon.
Bye, guys.
Hopefully my phone doesn't say it's overheated.